I did my diverse book speech over Almost a Woman by Esmeralda Santiago, and I first got introduced to this book by freshman year advanced English when we had to read When I Was Puerto Rican. This is another one in her trilogy series. So yeah, let us not forget that we are products of immigrants with hopes and dreams and vibrant life, the same life that first led the first breath onto our nation's flag. Without immigrants, the United States would not exist. An immigrant is not the drug dealer on the news. Immigrants are so much more than that. It is little kids that translate for their parents while attending school to help provide for their family. In Almost a Woman, that's exactly her story. She grew up in a foreign country, then immigrated to the United States in search of a better life and better medical care for her little brother. While in junior high, which is one of the most crucial times in a young woman's life, she had to battle so many self-profounding, life-altering decisions. She had to work hard for her dreams to get scholarships into a really good high school. She had to translate for her mom on the side during school. She had to help raise her little siblings. And I personally could not imagine doing all of that while in junior high. And so it just shows like how brave she was. And this is an autobiography, so clearly she grew up very successful in her ways, and I think that hard work really set the tone for her life. I have a quote here that, yes, it's in the beginning of the book, but throughout this whole book, like, it was one of the first quotes that really stuck out to me and stayed with me, and it's on page 4, and it says, "No, I'm Puerto Rican," and a little girl says, "Same thing, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, that's what we are here." So this is Esmeralda talking to a little girl in her neighborhood, and she was like, "What are you?" And Esmeralda's like, "I'm Puerto Rican." She's like, "You're Hispanic, same thing." And it just really got me thinking about how Americans tend to strip immigrants of their titles and make them into one lump sum of a person, and they take away their nationality and be like, "Boom, you're Hispanic." So when people talk about African American, there can be Haitians, there can be Bahamians, they're like, "No, you're black." Like, they just title them and label them into their own sum that makes them feel better about themselves. So that was just Esmeralda really learning and sinking in that she's no longer who she thought she was her whole life. Like, her whole title is being stripped away. And again, in junior high, when you're starting to go through puberty and changes in your life, you're kind of like, what do you mean I'm not Puerto Rican? Like, that's who I am. And it was just like a title that she had to get stripped away from her. And then there's an art connection that I made. I actually just looked up immigration art, because sometimes I just look up art, like art forms, and this one was actually really interesting. It's by Art Spiegelman, and I thought his name was really funny. Art Spiegelman made art, and he was a child of Holocaust survivors, immigrated here at the age of 3. He created this piece of art to show how ICE still manages to suppress people, and it goes against the inscription that's etched into the Statue of Liberty at the base. And it scorched the dreams of so many, because ICE just tears families apart. And art is not the only way to get a taste of Spanish culture. Multiple restaurants have authentic Spanish recipes, Spanish foods owned by Hispanics. Many Mexican restaurants, like I said, have even furniture that come from their hometown or decorated to remind them. Even on Netflix, one of my favorite shows, which is a spin-off or rerun of an original, is called One Day at a Time, and it just kind of talks about grandparents that were immigrants and they moved here, and how their grandmother really never got her citizenship because she was scared to take the test, and her grandkids kind of go through that, and it's more of a modernization of immigration and how the grandkids still feel the effects of that immigration on them. So I think that's everything, but I will show you the picture. Let me enlarge it here. I don't have a printer here that works, otherwise I would have had this printed off, but that's the photo. I'll link it down below as well, so you can check it out. It was on an article of 12 artworks of immigration, and a lot of them were really interesting, but I thought this one was so unique, coming as art was an actual immigrant that came here. And then I have my works cited as well. So yeah.